Third question. Do you trust in Christ's victory, which brings forgiveness, freedom, and life? Well, the forgiveness, freedom, and life sounds good, doesn't it? What's the bit about victory? Well, it's military language, and it was applied as one metaphor amongst many to understand the death and resurrection of Jesus. It's all that stuff about big cosmic battles, Lord of the Rings style. And while it makes for good fantasy, depending on your preferences, it doesn't connect with the reality of most people today, unless you're George Bush or Ronald Reagan or somebody like that. The parents' prescribed response to this question is, in faith I turn to Christ, my way, my truth, my life, as I care for this child. Well, to be frank, it sounds like the writing committee had a bit much piety on their cornflakes that morning. I don't think there'd be many of us who'd want to stand up and declare Christ as my way, my truth, my life. And what does that mean? And who says that to be a committed Christian, you have to own a statement like this? And more importantly, why are we asking this of parents prior to their children being baptized? It's clubthink, requiring parents to recite what some in the church believe is a precondition. Well, like you heard this morning, I've been offering open questions to baptismal families now for 22 years. Sometimes people don't put any thought into it or are a bit nervous to express what they really think. But time and again, more often than not, I hear some wonderful things said from the heart, their commitment and love of their child, their hopes for the child's future. From their heart, addressed to all our hearts. The wonders of sacred love in people's lives are magnificent, and it's not something that can be contained and controlled by the church. The sad thing is that without creating an environment for open questions, the church will never hear this wonderful love. The fifth and last question in the approved baptism prayer book service is a good one. We asked this morning, how then will you care for this child? And the set response is, I will love and share my faith with him or her. This question provides the opportunity for parents and godparents to talk about their commitment to their child. It's another opportunity to put deep feelings into words. Knowing oneself loved makes a world of difference and makes the world different. Being loved for who you are rather than for what you can become or who your parents are or how big your IQ is or what your face looks like, but just being loved innately for who you are can enable and energize and transform a person to exercise their gifts and abilities more freely and confidently. It's somewhat intangible, this thing we call unconditional love, and yet it empowers the one loved to give of who they are. And it is at the heart of this ritual of baptism. A number of years ago, I officiated at a baptism service, actually in the parish of Glynn, that had a little bit of a difference. And the difference was this paddling pool. It's about 2 meters by 2 meters. And it was surrounded by native plants. The family had asked me whether they could do this, and I said, oh yes. And there was a young totara tree with the ferns. And when the time came to christen the child, the mother handed me this naked baby, whom I sat in the pool and proceeded to put water over her head. And while this was happening, the child's older sister, not wanting to miss out on the fun, stripped off and jumped in the pool too. And then the mother, anticipating this and suitably attired, also got into the pool. The congregation were deeply moved by this service. The abundant water seemed to symbolize the love of God that the baby entered in and splashed in, naked, unashamed, and uninhibited. The family, too, immersed themselves in this love as they paddled together. Congregation also got a bit wet, to say nothing of the floor. Had a leak. At the conclusion of the service, the whole congregation followed the family outside to plant the young tōtara in the church grounds, taking water from the paddling pool to give the tōtara its first drink. It was as if love was surrounding and sustaining the planting and growth of something new and powerful. In the beginning, we belong. We belong before we claim that we belong. We belong to our parents and family, to the Christian community, to the wider community. Primarily, however, we belong to that which is transcendent, unfathomable, and mysterious love, that which we call God. And it's in this belonging to the God called love that can draw us beyond the confines of self-interest. As we grow up, we discover who we truly are and who we truly can become. We grow up to learn that this God of love draws us from being a bystander and invites us to plunge into the beauty, misery, passion, and wonder of our work.